All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital. This is the nightly strategy podcast for August 9th, 2021, Monday night. Let's go ahead and get started. Today we had basically no gap, some weakness, and then it recovered half the distance of the daily range to close at the RL30, just above the RL270. North of the Dragon. The RL10 is in the fall. It's above the Baby Dragon. Both of them are rising, so we actually have like a Kata 2 style entry right here from this location at the Hull 3-period moving average. So this is upward. I classified this as yellow. It was not a follow through day, but it wasn't enough of a sell off to get our attention. So this was kind of just a noise, nondescript sideways day for a Monday. I'll take that as a positive as part of this move. It didn't fail today, so that's something. So I'll take that. If it breaks out above 442.99, so 443 essentially, I'll treat that as a very strong sign to the upside, because that'll be a new all-time high, 10-day high, 30-day high. So that's double plus good if it does that. We got the hull pointing the way to the upside. The RL30 extension is positive. We have a good distance away from the PSAR extension. Tomorrow the PSAR value is going to be right here at 438, so that's like a $6 buffer. Bottom of the Dragon is at about 439. That's also where the RL90 is. This feels correct, like about a 3-bar low, and which is also the belly of the RL10. That feels like a reasonable stop at about 440. We could call that. If we wanted to just make that, if we wanted to round that off, you could just make that 3-bar low in 440, and see that's essentially the RL10, and that's really at the edge of the river as well. So 440 feels like a logical round number of a stop. The 1-bar low approximately 441, and then the upside at 443. So we got about 0.5% of a daily range here, slightly under one ATR. So for me, my swing trade, I like the edge of the river here. I like the belly of the RL10. I'll give it a 1%, a 1% slack. I think you would have to, if you were going to play the short side, you would have to do it like on a daily basis, not later than about 439, so that you still have room to play down to 435. So you have about a 1% move down to the Bollinger Band main. If that 10-day low cracks, then it looks to me like that could be a significant, that's where the significant sell-off occurs, I think, is, the Bollinger Band mean at like 435 and a half. So, this range inside here, you get to decide what you want to do with that. I'm going to call that, we'll just color that blue so you can see that. So, I think you could, if you were a tactical intraday trader, you could be thinking about, getting short here at 441, and then start playing that all the way down. And then by this time at about 439, I think you'd have to really adopt a the swing position to take advantage of this. Then if it broke through the PSAR dot at 438, you could really be serious about it. But then the next big swing move would be a breakdown below 435. So depending on how aggressive you want to be in here and when you want to start picking up the short side trade, I think it has to be not later than about 439, maybe 439 and a quarter. But the upside is compelling on this one too. All right, let's take a look at our sectors. So we've got the S&P, basically flat for the day. The Dow was down a quarter. Treasuries were off about a third. The Qs were up a fraction at 0.18. Emerging markets up 0.33. Looking for my there's emerging markets, Qs, and IWM I'm looking for. Doggone it. I think that was weak today. Yeah, and there's IWM at minus a half. So, so it was all the U.S. broad indexes were weak today. S&P flat, Dow weak at down a quarter, Treasuries down 0.36, Russell down a half. Tech up 0.2, and then EEM up a third. So let's take a look at the upside. There's some lumber. Here is some S&P biotech and the FANGs and finance up a quarter. XLP, which is the consumer staples, up a third. Archeomics up 0.37. The other lumber up a half. Marijuana up 0.8. ARC Innovation 1.4. Moonshots 1.5. That one's paying off pretty well. Tesla back above 700, up 2%. That was pretty strong today. Clean energy 3%. Cliff 3.12. Blockchain 3.5. And then the Bitcoin and the crypto large cap blend up strong, 6.5 and 7. Ethereum up 10%. This is the month of Ethereum. The London fork seems to be very favorably being received, so that's all good. More to follow. So it has passed that technical hurdle. It's becoming more liquid, but also less costly to operate the contracts under that London fork. So it should continue to gain some momentum, especially as both the markets, the indexes, and the treasuries are starting to stall. So Coinbase up 8.6. Virgin Galactic 5.5. U.S. Steel 4 1/3. Robinhood 3%. TX, the steel company, 2.2. Tesla and Squarespace up 2 and 1.7. John Deere still working hard, 2/3. So still quite a few goodies to choose from. In the underperformers, materials and consumer discretionary down a fraction today. So that makes the steel companies all the more impressive. when they are outperforming materials, that tells you that people are buying steel companies and not just part of a broader index. And remember, SLX is a steel ETF that can be played. Brazil and tech down a third. We have agriculture in Mexico 0.64, 0.84. Lithium down 0.84. VIX off 1%, which offers some hope for tomorrow. And then a cluster in the energy sector here. XLE, blended commodities, oil and gas exploration, commercial real estate down 1.7, oil itself 2%, and wheat and precious metals in gold. So gold voted to the downside, minus 3.77. And then that leaves, Devon Energy off 1 1/3. PayPal, Alcoa, and Microsoft half to minus 0.4. So it looks to me that this is, the disruptors plus steel. And I still think Bitcoin and all the cryptos have some traction as well. All right, some really good work from Ken H. using yesterday's trade frames, getting it done. This is what when preparation meets opportunity, you get excellent results. So here is mRNA, Moderna Healthcare, and did we miss the Kata 2 back here around 350? Sure, but you take them when you get them. So this is long at about 440 with maybe a $30 risk, so about an 8% risk. And this is a move from 440 to 490. That's let's see, 10. Yeah, that's about a 12% gain. Ken H has his stop at 470 or 468. Ken, I would move that up to the 1 bar low and lock in that gain, because you have a lower high. That's basically a 1, 2, 3 starting to form, and it's already had a nice move. So what I'm noticing here is it had a run up around Z3. Now it's running up along Z2, but the ranges are getting wider. And then today it opened at the high, sold off, and then recovered. So that already feels weak. Like, I could argue that you want yesterday's low at looks like about 480. Like, don't even let it come down below this one, and just cash that there at looks like about 483. But that's a nice move. That's about 1.5 R. I would definitely not let it come below 470, because then you're giving up half. Nice swing. All right, this is Ethereum, and this one has been, Ken's been playing this one on the hourlies. So he had got the second position in and a scratch on the second one. Got a fractional on this one. That's a good RLXD exit on failure to follow through. So get paid. That missed the weakness, but then you get the Kata 2. Perfect. There was a Kata 2 opportunity here, especially as it took out this double top in the RL10. That might have been an indicator for us to consider. And a possibility here, you got a Kata 2 plus a Z3 excursion. So that one was possible. There was a Kata 2 earlier, another Z3 excursion here. But I don't mind this one, just get paid. This is long at 28.5 on about a 40-cent risk. And you're looking at 30, so that's $6. That's a $6 gain on a 50-cent risk. So that's looking like 10R, is it not? So I think I would have my stop up here at the PSAR, and I would look to add, now that it's above the round number of 30, I think I'm looking to add a position. You got 10R in hand, invest one, but then use about a 25-cent risk. And then if it goes, it goes. But that's looking really good. And remember, this has now just closed the gap. And you have a run up to 37 available in here. So this could really go. And that's why I would tighten it up. Get a second position on, but tighten that up. Finally, this is CLF. And this was from a trade frame from Chi Wing Chong this weekend. And there was a Kata 2 on the daily. And it ran past Z3 and then had about a 7-day grinding downward, but then gave us a 1, 2, 3 entry at 24 even. And now you can see it on the 30-minute chart. Here's the 1, 2, 3 entry on a daily turns out to be not an SSC but a Kata 2 on the 30-minute chart. And I think you might have been able to use a tighter stop here, but I don't mind this one for a position sizing. So long at 24, you're holding 24.77 on about a 50-cent risk, and he's moved his stop to no lose plus dinner for 2. What I would say on this one is that you've got a you have a congestion zone here at 25 anyway, which corresponds with the peak of the RL10. So it really has to get through this in order to get to 26. So I don't know that I would let this get too weak. I might be ready tomorrow. Like in the first hour, if it hasn't broken above 25, I think I would tighten it up to the PSAR dot. So really good work on the swings. Keep up the great work on that, guys. And that's this is an example of leveraging the good work of others. Ken H. does us a real service with the trades that he's framing up. But this is one where somebody else framed the trade and he was able to use the template and go for it. So take advantage of that work and then try it yourself and start adding value to the chat room and to your own trading practice. You will really benefit from the effort. It's for your own good. I mean, it's good for everybody else, but it's good for you. Everybody wins. All right, next up. Come on. Stand by. I thought I had it open. Sorry for that delay. Let's go to dashboard number 1. So we are back into bullish quiet conditions. We are overbought on just about all the dimensions except for the 2-day, which showed a little bit of weakness today. That failure to follow through, if you will. Risk Z is still reminding us that we are in risk off, but in the spring, which means that we are tentatively excited about the long that we can get weakness in here. The last time we had that weakness was way back here, where we had a shallow winter and spring. It got to the zero line, but then sold off into this. But now we're looking at a low and a higher low, and the last time it did that, it gave this move. So that's what we're actually hoping to see. We're so close to the 10-day high, no channeling or overreaction signals. Notice the symbols that are winning right now. It's the Travelers, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart, Walgreens, J.P. Morgan. So none of the tech names, none of the industrials. It's like pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and a couple finance. Lots of dojis today in the Dow 30. Goldman Sachs, big winner today, and breakouts on every dimension. So finance just feels like it's back. We talked about that one this weekend on the possibility of upside. So that's another trade frame that followed through. Verizon, on the other hand, showed some weakness. It's a 5-day down. It's 2-to-1 on the reward to risk. It was a breakdown on the 10-day, 1 month, and 3 months. So that's showing significant weakness in Verizon. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I say Verizon? I mean Visa. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah, it is VZ. God, I can't even read my own chart. Let's see, man, that didn't look like a 5-day down. Yeah, this is sort of the grinding slide of death right here. On the other hand, we've had the last time it was at this price level. It's had a couple strong surges. So this is one where I think you could frame this trade in either direction, right? And be ready for a 5DD failure, as well as a successful 5DD. I find that completely tradable. And on this one, I might be tempted to, excuse me, on the intraday, I would probably be tempted to make this really tight, and that if it started reversing from beyond Z2, and I would be looking to trade that tactically to here, where I would then add the swing trade to it, right? So I would be trying to trade tactically intraday on 1 or 3 minute charts based on that. And then clearly, if this thing falls out of the box right here, I definitely want to be short right there. Yeah, so I think that's what that looks like. So Verizon especially showing some weakness, whereas Goldman Sachs is signaling strength in the strong financial sector. Yep, there's the breakout, and it's above. It confirmed the breakout above the the peak of the RL10, and all of today's price action was north of that. So that thing's long and strong, and who's going to say no to that? Who wants to sell? If you own Goldman, do you want to sell that? You do not. At an all-time high, and more money coming in on the as soon as the infrastructure bill passes. Man, that's money in the bank right there. And this, by the way, is another sort of confirmation of the Z3 pinch and the Kata 2 entry from down in here back around 220. That was $200 ago. That was 100% move ago. That's how good that is. That's the weekly chart. All right, let's look at the ETF 30 next. So we got a handful of dojis once more. We have a breakdown in gold, decisive, feels like. Silver decisively down. Finance making a tentative breakout, as was blockchain. So, yeah, that's not bad. Handful of auto framers. And that's all in the energy sector. So you got blended commodities is 3-to-1. That is, comprised of both precious metals and energy and agriculture on the weak side, right? Gold at 4.7-to-1. Silver 4-to-1. Treasuries and oil 2.5 and 4.5-to-1. In the auto framer, quite a few actually to choose from. Being this close to the 10-day high, nevertheless, there's still some nice plays in the auto framer, featuring McDonald's at 5-to-1. I always love Honeywell when it's on sale. Honeywell's at 4-to-1. We'll take a look at that. So I think that's the weekly. Grinding north. It has held above its gap up. After this gap up, it's really held that well. And after it joined the S&P. And this one I like as a 5DD, and it's holding above that key price level at the Bollinger Band mean. So I think I could trade that one right there, just like that. And I think I would be ready to own this at 229. Not even waiting for it to break out above the high. But my thought is that its target should be up here by 233. So that gives me about a $5 move. And then my stop would be pretty tight in here. That's maybe 40 cents or 50 cents. That's how I would get that thing started. And my idea on that is that all of those penetrating sell-offs. Come on, Kenneth, try the box. Here, recovered nicely, and those two recovered nicely. So this feels like a short-term oversold condition, ready to break out in a great company. And then I want you to notice that it is. Honeywell is voting to the upside. It was sideways for quite a while, but ever since this SSC, it's been pretty strong, and this looks like an opportunity at a critical state. So if it falls out of this, you're only risking 50 cents, but the upside is $5 to there and $10 to there. So that feels like an opportunity. Tactical. And if we see some more weakness in the equities, there's treasuries posturing up for some goodness. Daily squeezes, quite a few, and there's Honeywell and the S&P. So the S&P is poised for sharpness, a sharp breakout, and so is the Russell and XOP in the oil and energy sector. I like it when real estate is postured nicely too for a breakout. Let's see what real estate's doing. Yeah. Real estate is remaining above our little marker here. It's holding the upside, and so I think we could tighten it up to here now. Oops. I'm liking that one. That's safe. Go right to the multi-time frame NDX. Goldman Sachs, clear winner. And lots of weakness creeping in here in the Dow. And just a few clear winners here. Energy, clean energy, finance, and blockchain. Maybe health and healthcare, I would say. But then lots of losers here in the energy space. All right, that's everything we got. We got lots of follow-throughs for tomorrow. That range compression is going to start allowing for some directional moves to start gathering some steam. And you've seen where my stops are and where I'm ready to pick up the short side. The long side is simple follow-through and easy. Okay, take good care. We shall see you tomorrow.